Hello, everyone. Anyway, this is like the first time that I'm actually doing this. So, um, sometimes I get clients or friends that don't come on in and and they excuse me for this. I will video. Anyway, sometimes they don't show up and sometimes they do. Mm, So what we're doing is that we kind of have already got a set topic that we're talking about and what we're praying about. But we want to thank the Lord Jesus Christ for all that He does and our holy divine spirit that He gave to us at our time of birth that never leaves us. We want to thank you, Lord, shedding the blood so that we can have that spirit guide us through in clarity so that we cannot and we will not, by your assistance, by you living in us, we will not stumble. For you are our rock and you are our savior. You are our strength when we feel weak. In Jesus' name, we thank you. We thank you so much for this message. Anyway, my name is Bonnie Maria, and it is a pleasure to have you here. And please feel free at any time, leave a comment below. Please subscribe. You never know what the Spirit's going to be talking about. Please subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you can come into the previews with me. And without further ado, what we're going to talk about today is what our eyes perceive, what our eyes will see can be destroying or it can be life. So, what our eyes see and what we perceive can cause a reaction, or what we perceive, even though our brains, we thank you, Lord, we got wonderful brains once we understand how they work. And the thing is that our eyes will perceive things, and then our mind many times makes a decision for us, whether to protect us from fear and harm. So the brain already knows what the soul can handle. Okay. So very often we see this in, how the spirit protects us from really bad situations that happened years ago. And a lot of times, even what our ancestors perceived and became fearful of when it was carried down into our genes, our cell memory, and stuff like that. So lots of times when you identify to a whatever the case might be, a pattern in history, like addictions or habits or belief systems. Belief systems can surely also leave us stagnant in our journey in life to where we avoid places that are fearful and we don't take those, or we don't decide to take that journey because of that fear. Okay, like what our eyes perceive can either benefit us. Sorry for the mess up, the little glitch there. Can either benefit us or it can be so dangerous, our very own health and well-being. Okay, I am the founder of Life Changing Grace and also the Stay It Alive Alliance, which will be a 3-year journey for the Dream Team. And, all of this cannot be possible. Hit that thumbs up and any of this resonates with you, that thumbs up, and thank you for your likes and shares. You never know who this message is for and what. So when it comes to spiritual awakening and I'm an advisor, I'm a human potential consultant. know, I counsel, you know, I want for you what God's done for me. Okay. And the thing is this one thing stuck with me last year. And it was, he's a mentor, and I think that's so great. I even have his own very own cell number. Um, and it's super great because I can communicate with them, and I can even, videotape what problem I'm having with, technology or something like that. I'm part of an organization with the cybersecurity. I do the same thing with them. I can show them what's happening and speak at the same time and make a video and just simply email it over. So we can either, our fears of technology, we can either embrace them or run from them. The enemy always wants us to run from the things that he can use to get us lost. Okay. And if we pretend because of the fear that these certain things don't exist out there, that doesn't benefit the cause that could happen just by you being passionate and fear passionate, being passionate about, there's so many things out there, like the stalking that I've gone through, being aware of human trafficking out there, being aware of the enemy just using things that are out there. The movies, using the movies to keep us in fear too. Okay, we can't pretend that it's not out there, because if we pretend it's not out there, the devil's like, yeah, you don't know nothing about this. And I don't have to worry about you because you're in fear. And as long as I keep you in fear, you won't find out more about it. Or maybe you're in so much fear that all you're doing is complaining about it. And then you're complaining about it, and then you're speaking it, then you start seeing more of it. And I know that this is true. This rings very, very true. I've told you several times before, all of you Dream Team members out there, that I would rehearse the worst consequence that could come out of a relationship or something that I had to go through in court. I would rehearse the worst thing that would happen, simply because I felt like I needed to, so I would be ready and prepared when it did. So, with this being said, what we rehearse in our heads and what we focus on all the time, we're going to get more of that, whether we see it or not. We have to also realize, that I can't remember what it's called, what will happen or what could happen will happen. I can't remember what that's called, something Murphy's Law. The thing is, yeah, it will. As soon as you say that, or as soon as you believe in that saying, you might be saying these sayings that are stagnating your life. So, or keeping you from where you could be beneficial and where you can help people with the experiences that you've gone through. Okay. Self-education field, a lot of webs and the people that I'm associated with now are telling me that that's what it is. So, what we do is we have to renew what we speak, what we're thinking. When we're thinking things, it's almost always 99% what we're thinking is what we have seen with our eyes. We have gone through a past situation. Something reoccurs in today, or and it brings back the past. So your mind has perceived what it's seen, and it was so extremely painful for you. Your mind wants to protect you from that pain again. And the thing is that we bring the past back into our relationships today or our future, and we self-sabotage the greatness that can, okay, simply because that was then, this is now. People change, things change. So by being fearful of something and self-sabotaging it or not wanting to get involved, like seeing the movie that is out there that our children may possibly see, children are copying what they see. We all do it. That's why we should renew our mind. And he tells us to become childlike, come back to where he originally created you. Okay. And by doing this, because of our circumstances and the experiences that we went through, we have so much wisdom. And by becoming awakened, dream team about this becoming awakened, we realize just how much we were protected from even ourselves, our own fleshly self ways, whatever we turn to for pleasure. Well, we were in pain from the past. Now, things may reoccur and come back into your life, and the spirit will always know, what are you feeding? Are you listening to the lie or are you listening to the truth? So it'll always let you know. It'll bring other people in your life that have gone through the same exact thing. Now, either you're ready to embark on it with the person or help the person, whatever the case might be. And sometimes what we perceived and we start awakening and we realize how we've been protected, and then we realize, how much we forgot, and then, the spirit, you're born again. Spirit will bring back into remembrance right at the perfect time. Or when the time comes up, okay, you'll see where you've been strong in the past, how you got through it before, or you'll also see that maybe you'll push that situation away and not even know that you're pushing it away, or you're pushing it away and you're pushing it away because you feel like you're not ready to. And this is where a lot of awakening and people talk about the highly sensitive people and past, this is how we distance ourselves. So using the word empaths and being highly sensitive and all that kind of stuff makes you, try to get it right, say the words right. It makes you accept that stronghold. Stronghold. Strongholds can just choke us to the point where we can't breathe, or strongholds might keep us from bonding with another person, or a stronghold might be maybe someone so infatuated with you feel that, or somebody so hates you so much that you feel that, you feel it. It's almost like if anybody was to walk up to you. Okay, this happened to me when I was really highly sensitive, and I was just embracing the stronghold that wasn't serving and was damaging to my body, to my existence, to my health, to my step and walk in life, period. And it was keeping me away from people that needed me and loved me, So the stronghold can keep you in complete bondage. So what we're doing here is recognizing in our awakening how we do connect with other people to help other people. The spirit will always search out another person that's gone through it before, or even maybe another person that was in your life many years ago. I've always put this in my videos, hey, look, we all change, we're all shifting, you know, maybe it might need to be goodbye for now, or distance yourself, in your spiritual awakening, whether you can handle it or not. And the spirit will always bring it in when you can either learn something and get skills from it and get strength, or it brings it in because you are ready, okay, to help that person out. It's like think of a situation that happened to you. What would you say to yourself being in that moment in the past, how stubborn you were, or whoever you were then? What would you say to that particular person to help that person along? Not get offended, but to help them to be properly skilled into helping that person out. So this is how, like I said, some people will come in and will self-sabotage that even as well, because old memories come up, and then we start listening to the lie, because the lie was then, not now, today. Okay. And how other strongholds, people will hold on to strongholds and they keep things over your head. That's a stronghold, if they keep putting your past over your head, you know. Okay, today we're starting today. We all know how that goes when you're in AA, that you're saying the serenity prayer. For today, what is the lie today? Ask yourself that. What would, down in the comments below, what would be the lie you're listening to today? Is it something that someone said to you in your past? Is it something that you did in your past that you would never in your right mind or in your full loving heart ever do today, but you did do it in the past? Guilt killed you. Guilt will kill you. I was dying. Heard some of my stories either on YouTube, Instagram, or in person, because I love face to face and getting face to face and talking about these things. Because then we really magnify the message that we didn't even know we were going to go there. And two flesh come together. We have videos about this, eh, whether it be mentally, physically, or even sexually. There's a bond with the spirit that people make when they get together, or in the atmosphere, in the surroundings. So ask yourself, what is that lie? Okay, maybe you're even trying to get over my journey. Everyone keeps asking, what is my journey this year? Okay, what is the journey that now, or what is your journey right now that you're listening to a lie that's keeping you from succeeding and moving through life in fulfilling what your creator created you to do? Sometimes we just think that we know it all, or we want to know everything, and by knowing everything, it makes our mind get involved. So I'm going to use, for instance, myself right now. It's relationship, period, just relationships. Once you have that clear relationship and you're drinking that living water, you're constantly in the Lord, you understand that agape love. And then you're not shoving people away from you that you've gone through that already and you're just not going to deal with it. Or you're repeating what you once went through with this person again, or even another person. And you're repeating the same thing that you repeated from a relationship in the past. Okay. And it's getting involved in your today. So mine is relationships. And the thing is that also your subconscious mind, you may be blocking something to begin with, and you don't even know why it's occurring. With cybersecurity, I'm dealing with that because we need to know. I've had things happen to me. I've been attacked. I've been stalked. I have had a relationship with someone through the dating site and then invite them to my Facebook and then not know that I had my locators on. And then later on down the road, and the thing is as a drinker, I've had this happen to me as a drunk and as not recovering addict. Okay. So when you're a recovering addict, you see things, you really truly see things that you didn't see when you were intoxicating yourself. which is always from an emotion or something fleshly desire that you're not getting. Okay, or you're not feeling, or maybe we just drink to numb everything because we're feeling too much. Highly sensitive people, empaths, you guys call yourselves that. That's exactly what we do. All of us do this. All of us have the spirit. What he's done for me, he could do for you too. What he's done for you that he may not have done for me, I realize he can do it for me too. So it's like the teacher becomes the student becomes the teacher. So, with that being said, I've realized that I just don't trust men. Okay. And I remember in the past, like I said, the spirit will bring back into memory so you can heal. It'll bring back into memory when the spirit knows that you have more strength than your. And when we can realize that we can't do anything without him, without the spirit, oh my God, with the spirit, we live in some amazing times today, these times. The choices that we have and the choices that we can have, with just a little bit of awareness. Okay, so this memory come back to me from last it came to me last year, just when I was ready. And it was something that sort of was happening and had been happening. A certain someone obviously was not spending pretty much his lifetime behind bars. So, but in and out, in and out. So anyway, I started realizing what happened to me back when I was drinking. Okay. And I did get attacked and it wasn't nice. I've also had the same thing where I would be at the bar drinking. Okay. And then somebody would just come up and talk to me, or I would run into each other or whatever at the bar. Okay, just hanging out at the bar. I used to drive people around that didn't drink. Eventually turned into that because I ended up becoming sober. So and not drinking. So they would just walk up. And this can happen to you too. This is awareness. They just come up and all of a sudden they just know everything about you. And then you're not really realizing that everything you're posting on Facebook or all over the media is. So this person comes in and all of a sudden it's destiny. It's destiny. So it's like, what is your eyes perceiving? And what are your ears listening to? So and now having this awareness, I help people with that because so often I ran into someone and I knew it even when I was drinking. I knew it. And I wasn't drinking at the time, but it was dangerous. And I'm very protective of my family, more so than I was myself then. And without me, then I mean, yeah, the thing is that we gotta love ourselves. We can't put ourselves out of the equation. We have to care for ourselves because what if we didn't care for ourselves, or what if we are going through that emotion where it's just a lot easier just to die than to keep feeling these emotions. We've all been there. Don't be in denial. Okay, I speak these things because I've been there. Okay, recognize it and then realize that what if you were eliminated? Even thinking now and then think back when you last felt that way. What if you were eliminated? Everyone's lives that you've touched from then to now. Okay, so I'm very passionate about the suicide thing, and I used to be in denial. I didn't even want to hear it. Didn't even want to hear it. Didn't And I would say I didn't understand it, and I didn't understand it really at the time. And it was better not to think about it or talk, or to throw it out there like it's some tool to get somebody to love you, whatever, however it might feel at the time. You realize if you weren't there, all the things that would be missing, not just from your life, but from their life. Okay, so that's how you do. And that's how you really truly say, okay, I care for other people more than I do myself. Mm-mm. You have to care for yourself. in order to care for them fully. So that memory come into my mind, and this is for many, many years. I was attacked. I knew I was shoved. I knew I shoved. I had abrasions. I woke up in a lake. The lake is what woke me up. But as far as that could have been, somebody could have left me for dead there. Okay, I was covered in blood. My daughter went to see this, and it was devastating. And I didn't really recall, and I kept rehearsing what I could remember for years and years. And at that time, there was a lot of things because I got in a car wreck and had a head injury. There's a lot of things when I raised my children I didn't remember. So during that attack, now last year I just left things, but during that attack and that time, okay, obviously I'm not going to go into details about how I got across the pond or didn't get across the pond or what I had to do to get to the land. Okay, so I did. I just took my clothes off. I do remember that. Still remember that. I slightly taken my clothes off, as I was going to the door, as I was walking up to the door, and I couldn't get in. My daughter had the door locked, so I must have just passed out there, and maybe I knocked, maybe not. I don't know, but my daughter answered the door. The next thing I remember, I was upstairs. And just at the moment that I remember, I see my daughter going down the stairs, hitting the wall, and the stairs went down, and they went around and then back down. So I kind of broke her neck. Okay, it was devastating for her more than it was for me. I just didn't realize my brain had shut down. The tragic things that I did that happened when I didn't remember. Okay, my brain shut it off for years until 2020. Okay, so with that being said, okay, I barely drank anything at all. I was on probation. Day 2 o'clock that afternoon, my mother was coming to get me. Why would I go out and get drunk? I didn't. I felt, I mean, it's a place I always went. And I made my, being a smart drunk or being a smart drinker, I felt like going and having a couple drinks. At that time, I would only have a couple drinks. So, and it was something I was sad about, or always an emotion or something that I was going through. It always is. Think about that, you guys. What thing is not fleshly working out for you that you don't understand that draws you to pick up anything? So, um, with that being said, I made the cab came got me like it always does. I always schedule the phone call for the cab to come get me ahead of time. So it's on the schedule for them to come get me. And I lived at a gated community. So as always, I just had them drop me off. And well, the only reason I was going in the first place was to meet just one person. And anyhow, this doesn't have anything to do with cyber. But it's bringing back into memory that how your brain will protect you even if you don't remember some tragic trauma that you went through. And I didn't remember. I still don't remember all of it. Okay, the trauma, I had been being protected. I have been celibate for so many years, I don't even remember. For a long time, up until this year, 2021, I was broken. Okay, and well, anyway, to make a long story short, okay, all I could remember is concrete coming to my face, waking up in the lake, okay, and then waking up with my mom putting me in the shower, okay, and that tragic part where my daughter went. Anyway, it's very hard for me to speak that because I love my baby so much, but I wasn't aware about what was happening. But I knew at the bar I was spiked. I had only remembered ordering one drink and speaking to a couple, and the certain person that said it, he was going to meet me there. The only one that knew that I was there other than my daughter. Okay. All of a sudden wasn't going to show up. Excuse after excuse. Wasn't going to show up. No, this is an adult. So anyway, it wasn't until 2022 that I understood exactly what ended up happening. So you have to be careful about what we perceive and then realize, you know, what our eyes perceive will be protecting us or deceiving us. Okay, so what's happening today with my relationships? I understand that I've had hatred towards men in a general, not anymore. I got over that a long time ago and realized it wasn't quite fair to do that. Treat others as you would want to be treated, you guys. Okay, sometimes when we're throwing ourselves around and it's all about our pain, we don't realize the hurt that we're causing other people because we're hurting inside, and pain likes to see pain or cause other pain. So in the process, we're hurting people that we love. Okay, or in a state of trying to reach out for help, but you just ain't gonna do it because of that pain. Okay, and I realized that there's different ways that you can express your love in your relationships. And it's okay to dig up old bones, but when you dig that old bones up, you have to see the reality is going to be painful. And then you understand that this isn't all about you. Okay. Sometimes we get into that state where it's all about us. We do me, 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 me. We need acceptance from all around us. Me, 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 me. We're in so much pain. Me, 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 me. Then we realize that it isn't. It's for the multitude coming with you, coming after you, just like excuse me, just like when it used to come to money with me. I thought, oh no, I don't need no money. Money can't buy this. No, money cannot buy you your way to the kingdom. You can't, it never will. And that's the way I was raised. So many times people had money and I knew they had money to give me, but I wanted to show them that. And I think that this is the reason why it's coming in right now. So they can see that someone that really cares and really loves you can love you without that money and can provide a service to you without the added stress of I ain't got no money for your time. So when it comes to marketing with me, that's my big goal right now is that, okay, if you had accepted this money that was offered to you a long, long time ago, you could see where you could have been. That's how you will miss what you could have done back then. But you got to let it go. And then you realize, okay, I had to go through that in order to be who I am today, to be wise in it, to help other people. Because if we were perfect and didn't mess up, what fun is that? How are you really going to connect with other people if you weren't a hot mess at some point in time? And we're always there. The things will happen and there's always something to grow in. Okay, and start realizing even people that you might just despise and just don't like being around them, you will get strong enough to be around them. That's why he was number one thing to God is family. It doesn't matter the past, doesn't matter what we've gone through. Notice and have awareness to know that we burn bridges in our, okay, and understand where that might come from if tables were turned, with a understanding, but then loving who you are made out of in Christ, the Christ in you. You can reconnect and you can be joyful. You can be everything that God has promised us. Once we get out of our fleshly ways, push that flesh, that ego and everything, and push that ego away, but understand that we had to go through it to help the people that are coming in our lives. The thing is, sometimes you don't even have to know these people, and you just collide. This can happen when you're walking in the store. It could happen anywhere that you go, and you just know that you've known this person from another life. And where we get that from another life, okay? Let's not get caught up in that and forgetting God, because it's the cell memory of everyone. We all came from that. We're all connected. It doesn't matter what color our hair is. It doesn't matter what we look like. It doesn't matter where we're from. It doesn't matter our skin. We are all alike. So we have different journeys. We have different situations, minus the details. But the emotion is still the same. Maybe someone's voice may not ring with you, and spirit. Okay, or the enemy knows this, will use a person that the voice just aggravating, or may even use that person too because that voice doesn't resonate with you, or use that person because he used to have you in those bondages years and years ago, that same bondage, and what he's doing is using that person to try to grab you again and get you into those bondages from the past. So we realize this, that people that are coming in, and once we're growing in Christ, Christ is growing more and more, and he's moving his stuff in more and more as we keep pushing that ego out. He's moving more stuff in, okay, and realizing that we can help people, and realizing we have our limits. We always have our limits depending on what season we're in, and some of the things we will have to push off in a way, because in order to move in an aggressively manner in Christ. Okay, so God's good. He's great. He's wonderful. He's so awesome. And I love doing this. I love connecting with you guys. And that's one thing I did forget at the beginning. That's what keeps me throttling forward, is seeing my mother die over and over and over again, or my stepmother, or a gentleman that I was caring for and I couldn't deal with it anymore because it got too rough and I pushed him away. You see these people die over and over again. If you don't speak in your phone, on your Facebook, instead of sharing everything worldly to get attention, realize the story is in there, even just to your friends, or even making a video that only you will see. There's settings in there, okay, until you're ready to actually share it with someone that you're going through, okay, because our testimonies connect with other people, and then we realize we're not alone. We feel alone so often, but we're not alone. So I don't know why I went there. Let me see if I can do it. There was something I forgot to say at the beginning of the video. It was something I forgot to say at the beginning of the video. It went away. And that is the enemy coming to swoop in a little bit. I mean, because he even has used speech impediment with me. Okay. Oh yeah, that's what it was. I was going right to come right back to it. God is good and great. It's great. Mm. Now he's going to mess with my technology. There we go. So I'll see my mother die over and over again. And somebody said something to me. That's what it is. Someone said that to me last year. Why would you want to save lives? Or it just stuck with me. And I was like, I could see my mother running over and over. Sorry about that. If I don't reach out and do this, then there's another mother out there that's going to die from guilt and emotions, holding the burdens of the world. Okay. And God didn't intend us to hold all the pains of the world and everything. You guys out there in past, highly sensitive people, if that's what you want to say to yourself, but then realizing that it's the spirit, if you're going to keep saying that, okay, the enemy is going to use it like crazy. It's going to keep people out of your life, people that you can help. Okay, it'll keep you in bondage. You're to have an excuse not to do something about it. Okay, so we realize that, okay, in the spirit, this is how we connect with people. But it's not our cause to be holding all the emotions. It's just like, if I watch a movie, I'll cry. I'll cry because I know that that part in the movie is something that's triggering. I don't have to know what it is. And lots of times I do know what it is. But it re-triggers something I didn't heal from the emotion in the past. Okay, so cry therapy. I tell you guys all the time, cry therapy is good. That's so that when you are needed to be focused on a chaotic situation or somebody's experience that you've gone through, you're ready for it. You're not going to be sitting there sobbing with them. What good are you when they're telling you a story that does sound like yours or what you've seen on TV? You see it, it brings up a memory that you didn't. You just took and suppressed that thought or that feeling. You suppressed it down deep inside and played that tough role and said, I don't care, and and you just keep pushing it down and down and down. We do this. We do this. We sometimes so in a way that's like a habit. It's like a hypnosis. It really is. We get into those little habits. It's a hypnosis. We don't even know we're doing it. So when someone or a movie triggers you into crying, okay, you let yourself cry and you meditate and pray. And that's what I'll do. I'll moan. I'll feel those tears coming and I'll just moan. And I'll start thinking, even if I don't understand that I was the one that went through it, maybe someone else is going through it, or it doesn't matter the reason. Later on, as you start to cry, for whatever reason it might be, then you understand why. So when you're crying, you're healing because you have healing chemicals. God is great. He is the awesome scientist. He is the awesome physician out there. Okay. Your eyes, your chemicals, your tearing heals is a different chemical every time you cry. Every time you cry from an emotion and a feeling that you're feeling, sometimes this feels like you are literally bleeding, dying, dying, dying. Okay, because you've suppressed this emotion for so long because you didn't deal with it a long time. Body needs to heal that way. And if you don't heal it, then it starts manifesting in your body as high blood pressure or anxiety or insomnia or whatever the case might be. It's something that you're not healed from, something that you're not rested with that certain thing, and it gets involved in your relationship and gets involved with getting you to where your joyful life being abundant in every aspect of your life. Okay, so what I was getting to is that it does. If I don't do this in some manner, a lot of you can see my old videos. You can barely see the video. My mouth is going. it's like kung fu fighting. So I mean, the thing is start knowing and realizing that you aren't alone and there are other people out there too that are suffering just like you, feeling pain just like maybe a different situation or maybe even the same situation. You're not alone. There's so much out there and we don't even realize that other people live these certain ways out there. That it's like, 'cause some of them out there, I just feel for them. I just want to caress them and hold them, when they're lacking wisdom, because we're rich in wisdom and we're rich with the love of the Holy Spirit. And we're rich in that sense and in that way. It's not in that sense, we are, that we see other people there, so much pain. So many people out there judging other people because they don't even realize they have to judge other people because they have to see the wrongdoings of the world because they've suppressed the wrong things that they have done themselves. Okay, and it's the only way that they can feel good about themselves is by complaining or pointing out all the bad things. And the more, if you really think about it, the more you do that, the more it's going to show up. It's going to be all around you. Whether you don't or do want something, it's going to show up. So, what are you focusing on? What are you focusing on this year? You guys keep asking me. Okay. Um, I'm still focusing on study. I always will be in the word. Who are you listening to that feel so unworthy that you can't do something that someone else can see that you can't do? How often do we do that to ourselves? I do have notes here and stuff like that, but I mean, the spirit's just wonderful. He does wonderful. So, um, if we're listening to the past, then that's always going to be showing up in all kinds of forms around us. So, what our eyes perceive, just like I say so many times, I close my eyes so I can see. I just do. I do. I love to close my eyes. But sometimes I'm one that kind of really gets embedded in actually closing my eyes a lot because that's just my way. Okay. And I don't want to speak the words or anything. That's between me and the spirit and all that. So the spirit will do different things. Don't get compulsive at looking for numbers or looking for a certain bird. Don't get compulsive looking for certain signs because the enemy will realize that you're doing that. Okay. What you do, the enemy can see, he knows that. Okay. But he doesn't know all things. That's why when we're in conversation and the spirit brings in something in your head and you're like, that's just totally off. Why would that message come in? That doesn't have anything to do with what I'm just talking about here or what I'm thinking about. Okay, so you might get something that comes in like that because your mind is not involved with it, and then it's the divine spirit. Okay, so if you get compulsive at anything, any compulsion that you have, okay, and once you realize it doesn't serve you, you realize the enemy's using it. Okay, any compulsive looking at numbers all the time, you gotta have these certain signs, but not be so focused on looking at certain signs because the enemy will bring those signs in. Don't always do the first answer you get from your spirit. Say you're asking your spirit for for something, some help, some skill, or whatever. Okay, because it only understanding and skills, your spirit is not going to go and punish somebody because they've made you hurt. Okay, the spirit is going to be like, and the spirit is not going to, not going to do the work for you. We have to move as a spirit. It's like the spirit is using us as a little chess game, moving us around. Sometimes we're just, we're butting up against the black chess pieces, because the enemy just keeps using these things. And the thing is that even when you just don't want to deal with something, Okay, you don't want to deal with that type of person. People will show up in your life. You don't want to be around them certain type of people. Say there's just a certain kind of judgment that you have against somebody. They will show up everywhere around you. And the thing is that if we notice this or we deny it, either way, most of the time, the enemy wants us to deny these people. The enemy wants us to deny these people because then if we deny anything, whether the evil be on the movies or anything that we deny, the enemy will be like, okay, I got him. Okay, and it will. The people that you truly detest the most. Say that again. People that you truly detest the most will end up showing up with all kinds of faces. In other words, say relationships just like this. Relationships. You keep getting the same relationship, just maybe a different face. Or maybe you're one that just was in love with what somebody looks like. And every relationship after that, you keep picking people that look like that person. Okay. Or for some reason, the relationship didn't work out then. And the abuse you dealt with then, you for some odd reason, just sometimes it's like that. I say reason, some odd reason. When I do that baby talk kind of sort of, I realize that there's going to be someone young listening to this. But if there's for some odd reason, let me see if I can remember what I was talking about there. When you love someone and you love who they are and you really had a good relationship with that person, but there were some things that maybe at that time kind of like separated you. Something might that just getting in the way. The enemy was using something to keep you guys apart. Okay, that's why I said that, sometimes it's not goodbye forever. Okay, like I always say, watch your words. I've done this. My parents did it for me. I did it for mine. Mine still say goodbye. And if I'm around anyone or talking to anyone on the phone that says goodbye, quite often I'll say goodbye, but I really don't like to say goodbye. I'll just say later. So if I accidentally say goodbye, it's because of that person, the energy that I'm sharing. They say that word. So goodbye isn't forever. But the thing is, it just didn't work out at that time. You weren't compatible at that time for whatever reason that was going on. Okay, and then different other people might come in that have the same quality later on, when you've move on, the same quality that you like. Okay, but you might also see that you keep choosing the same ones that are abusing you in certain ways. Once we realize this, and it's painful to come to reality, sometimes we think we deserve it for whatever reason. We may think that we deserve it, or maybe our parents thought that they deserved that kind of relationship. And we're repeating the same kind of abuse that our parents went through. It could very well be just a cell memory that our parents had when they were holding us in our tummies, in our tummies. Okay, and you're just sitting there and you're wondering why. Most of the time when it's a currency, you're like, oh my God, why does this keep repeating itself? If you don't see it yourself, which is fine, like I said, not knowing everything could be a great thing, because then the spirit really has something to work on, because then you're there and you gave in the wheel to the God, and you're letting him work in your life, expecting that even your vision will be greater than, because that is the way he works. He always will give skills and understanding in some form. So I'm asking, or I'm saying this to you. I'm kind of like in bringing in my own, to answer y'all's questions out there, because I see a lot of you guys got those questions out there. And like I've said before many times, I'll see your comments before they're okay, because, well, I've also set it up to identify with different words too, and it just won't even come in. If there's certain words that I put in the program, the AI, it won't even comment. It won't even come through. So anyway, when we realize what we keep repeating, that's what you're looking for. What is it that you keep repeating over and over and over again? Some of you don't know your parents. Okay, so it's not like, okay, well, you know what? You don't have to know your parents because you're not your parents. Sometimes that's a good thing. You're not your parents, that's a good thing. Okay, and if you don't know them, and later on, sometimes you end up, you meet them and you get to know them, and then you start really seeing, oh, okay, then you understand why God may have at that time sacrificed, or kept you from sacrificing yourself, because you could have been like this, or you could have been like that, or you become a better person and you have certain traits, recalls from your parents, that are going to work for your benefit and everybody else's. So that kind of like breaks the curse right there for the next generation to be better. Okay, there's just some parents out there too that, or anybody for that matter, that have a jealous kind of personality. That's a demon too. I realized I wouldn't get in relationships because I had a couple of them. That that's just such a horrible emotion. I couldn't handle it, and I knew I couldn't handle it. So I never got in a relationship if I felt there was a time, if I felt the least jealousy, and I knew that I could be with this certain person, strictly keep it friendship. Never get in a relationship. And I did have one, which I'm really glad I did have it. I'm still connected with exes out there and all of you out there. Some of you have changed, some of you haven't, some of you have changed a little bit, some of you have just gotten worse. Sometimes we got to realize what happened then at that time and separate that away from now and today, because we cannot be assuming that things are the way they were then. Okay, but we have to recognize the fears, like I said, with jealousy and stuff like that. I just have nothing to do with this. Horrible thing. Some people just have that character. It's like that, and they see their children succeeding, and they'll do it. They don't even know they're doing it. They'll self-sabotage their own children because for some reason the demon doesn't want them to have what, in other words, say their own pain with their parents. Okay, and then they see their children doing better than their parents, their grandparents did for you, or vice versa. Okay, that jealous beast, if you have a very jealous characteristic, you ought to be killing the flesh. Born again Christians, you ought to be killing the flesh and the offenses and the emotions and the things that make you feel in an emotion, because that's where the enemy strikes you, is at emotion. Will use anybody to get you in an emotional state. I have high blood pressure. I haven't been on my enalapril for 2 years, and back when something tragic happened, that of course I couldn't control it myself. Okay, I think the worst thing when we get older as grandparents and stuff is to see pain reoccurring in your family, okay, and not being able to do anything about it. Like it's happening again to you, but it's worse because you cannot control it. You can't run after your children and in fear and you're going to cause yourself a lot of trouble. So when we get this way, we can save ourselves our own trauma and issues coming out of it. Okay, so you understand that these things are demons, emotional demons. Okay, and they will use things. Now we've got to remember that only 1/3 of the angels fell. So they're out there. These people out there saying there's no evil out there, come on, it's obvious. Let's just face the truth here. So, and I go through the media, see what's out there, witchcraft, see what's going on, because you never know what your children are going to run across. Okay. And I'm so blessed that, I never thought, I thought I'd always propel, technology. Obviously, no. So you got to remember, we still have 2/3 good angels out. Okay. And the thing is that all we gotta do is ask them to come and start talking to them. There's so many angels out there unemployed. How many of you are listening to the lie out there and your angel is unemployed, just sitting there going like that? Okay, are you gonna get over this? I'm here for you. And your angel's gonna protect you, period. The angel that was assigned to you will never ever leave you. Okay, we will judge him. So he will never ever leave you, but he will do his darndest to get you on the right track, rebellious or not. Okay, he will do all kinds of, just think about if you were your angel. When I ask you that question, what would you say to your future self? What would you say if you were that person's angel? If you were a person's angel, what would you say and do or not do if you know it's going to offend you? What would you not do? And then how would you get your message across? So the angels, the ones that we can't see, they're moving around and they are using things to get our attention. And they will not, they know how to get our attention. Always know how to get our attention. Okay, and when we're not thinking and asking for certain signs to appear and show up to where the enemy can use them to get us off course, because this is how this happens when we end up worshiping, worshiping things other than the divine spirit. Okay, the enemy is tricky. It's very tricky, and he'll use these things. And you will get all 9 gifts. All 9 gifts. Born again Christians, we will get all 9 gifts. If we're lacking one gift and we're not operating in one gift, that does not mean that we don't have it. It's just sitting on the shelf up there because somewhere or another in this journey, you forgot you had it. That's why I come back childlike. So anyway, I always hope that you get something from my videos. I don't know exactly how much time this is, but I would love to continue talking about this and remaining connected to you guys. Awesome. So what are you perceiving? What are you listening to? What are the words that are still embedded in this brain? We got to renew. We got to get rid of the trash. We got to silence. We got to give ourselves rest. It's a commandment. Rest, from everything. And that means everything. You've got to find a way to stop your brain and turn it off once a week. It has to happen, or things will just keep occurring and happening. It's just like when it comes to like backsliding, turning your back. We do this several times in our life. We'll be in the Word and we feel His embrace and His love. And at first, in the middle of our life, we turn to Him when we're only happy, or we turn to Him when we're only having rough times, or whatever the case might be. And there's never no little medium. Dear Lord, we ask you and we thank you to embark your way into our lives, and that we be excited to spend this time with you every day, and that we rest our mind in our bodies once a week. You gave us the Sabbath for a reason, and we thank you. Give us strength and courage to face the truth, even when it hurts us, and give us witnesses. Give us witnesses. That's fine. Give us witnesses. Give us witnesses and wisdom, your power that has worked in your life, dear Jesus. Jesus' name. So be it out there. Be healed. Be more than even what you think you can be. We've got to start somewhere. Got to change our visions. We've got to change this. How strong. Don't be accepting those strongholds out there like they're some gift and you're just some special person and you're just bombarded by all this. Okay, let's realize that the blood, we are covered in the blood. He shed our blood. Let's make sure he shed his blood not in vain. Okay, let's realize that we were not made to hold the burdens of the world, just like Jesus did. His vocabulary, he was bleeding long before anyone put his hands on the person, or before anyone put their hands on him. Okay, I had that illness for years. I would hold so much stress, and I'd end up having, I still have some scars from it. When vocabularies would pop, and I could feel them like if you were to pop a pimple, feel them popping. And I always knew, and like I said, I couldn't remember my past, and the Lord knew that I didn't need to remember the past because I would have killed myself before. And they knew, just the Spirit knows just when to bring it on. But I had lupus, and I would feel when I would be in a stressful situation, even when I didn't know, I thought it would feel like I was getting bit by ants. I mean, literally, or someone was taking, it feels like someone takes a pin and jabbed you with it. It would feel like I was getting bit up, and it would be like one of those things I'd sitting there and ow, 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 ow. And it was like electricity or something. And whatever you want to, it was hard for me to describe it, but it hurt. Okay. And then before I know it, in those spots that I would feel that stress, and it's the body was working, with little taps and little things in certain areas of my body. Okay. And I wasn't listening to it. I wasn't healing. I was getting worse. And it would create like a pimple, a blood blister. In the comments below, I know a lot of you YouTubers, you're subscribed to the channel, and I know you got those better terms than I do, that the enemy has always used, and I cast that off. So I'm saying this, we're going to do it right now. I'll show you a representation of what this can look like. Okay, you cast off any bondage that ever took. I'm dyslexic. I flip those letters around. I understand that it's history. From right to left is the way we originally should read. Okay, I cast that off in the name of Jesus. If I say I'm dyslexic, in my mind, I'm like, I don't even accept that. Throw that away. Okay, so any bondage, you cast it off. I couldn't read. It was bad when I was young. So the skills, you expect that greater things will be done. And then you realize that you were accepting with your mouth and everything. You were accepting all these bondages, from the world. It's like a lot of people I've been talking to you guys, a lot of you beginners of meditation, you think you're meditating, and then you're like, and I'm like, what do you see? What do you feel? And they're feeling all the badness in the world. They can't stop their brain. They're thinking about all the chaotic things that they've seen with their eyes, or heard on the news. And it's just so painful. And at first, when you first meditate, it is going to be painful. That's why you just start anywhere. It doesn't matter. Okay, and you meditate, you push out the ego that wants to keep you attached to fear. Okay, so if you're meditating on all that pain out there and all that, it's going to show up. It's going to show up. It's like when you first start meditating, just start. As the things come in, they're going to come in. Think of it as like you're cleaning your kitchen daily, or you're cleaning your bathroom daily, or you're making your bed daily. Why these habits also make habits in our brain. Okay, so you're cleaning that all of the first thing in the morning, or bedtime is great. At bedtime, meditate before bedtime, clean all that clutter that happened that day or whatever. You clean all that clutter out of your mind before you go to bed. Kids, I gotta tell you, prayers are essential. Our ancestors gave us this. Yes, it's a manly thing, made up thing. Prayers are essential. They're essential. Say your prayers at night. Okay, I love you guys. Okay, so you have to cleanse what's out of your mind, because if you don't, then that's all you're going to keep seeing. You're just going to keep seeing all that. Or maybe you're still hung up. I got chat lips really bad. Sorry about that, you guys. Authenticness. People are really looking for authenticity, so I don't clip very much, out of my videos. So, but I do know how to clip now, so that's pretty cool. But once you clear that out of your mind, then you have a clean slate every day. Okay, even though you're rehearsing some of it, the next day, it's really good to get that all out, because then you can focus on more of what's important. When you clean all that clutter out, because like I told you earlier, I was taking a nail frill. Okay, I did recently have to take some out. I had to go back to taking a nail frill again. And it's been 2 years since I've had to take a nail frill. Occasionally I may have had to split the pill in half and take it off and on, but it's only occasionally. But if I keep taking the nail frill, the thing is, I had a really busy couple weeks. Okay, and it just really started getting underneath my skin, and I know how to read my body now. So I did forget that, oh well, when it gets chaotic like this, I need to take my nail. But if I take my nail frill all the time, my blood pressure goes really, really low. I mean, extremely low, to the point where I really feel like I'm dying, and it's quite scary. So any of you go through, I know what you're feeling. So we cast that off in the name of Jesus now, that we are not in bondage anymore of that. Dear Lord, dear Jesus, we thank you. So and that's what you got to do. You got to say these things to yourself. Okay. And you have to change your mind. It's just like, I'm so sick and tired of sticking myself with a needle. I was like, God, I got to change my words. I'm saying God. Um, Diabetes keeps attacking me. I'm highly sensitive diabetic on a sliding scale, highly sensitive to everything. That's the thing, is that highly sensitive blood pressure or whatever. I've realized this, and I treat it as a demon, because the demon messes with emotions. So if your emotions are getting a hold of you, or have a hold of you, if your emotions are controlling what you're doing, saying, or how you're acting, then your emotions got a hold of you, and the demon is the one that's got a hold of you. Okay, so this is how you change your mind, and you actually you can see the unseen realm in that sentence. Like I said, hit that thumbs up if any of this resonates, but don't forget. So anyway, I'm going to pause it. I'm going to cut it right there. It's been hours. It's been so great to see you. I don't think I'm going to clip this at all, because it's authenticity. And there's really nothing that needs to be clipped out of here. It's straight from the spirit to you, from my place to your place. And locals, there's 2 of you out there. You know where I live. Okay, I don't have a vehicle yet. Donations, I'll leave the donation tides down below. I don't have a vehicle right now, but boy, what I could do on a vehicle, what I'm doing on a bike anyway. So I like my bikes, but getting back into that again. But you know where I live, you guys are, my door is open. Okay. I miss you guys. I miss you guys so much. And I will leave a link down below for the tidings for the Stand Alive Alliance, which is about the children. That'll be about I like setting goals. So I'll set a goal and I'll write journal and stuff like that. And except these ideas, I would never even think about this stuff. And so it, they weren't ideas like the ranch, the vision that I seen it all. Okay. I- It's almost like flashbacks. It's like you see certain, it's like you see a picture. Okay, I'll share this with you. I seen myself in a suit. Now, I didn't really know what it was. This is a recent one, and it goes to the vision that I seen last year about the ranch. And everyone that I'm seeing, I see people I don't even think I know, but maybe I do know them. Then I see certain ones that I did see. Okay, it's family ran organization. Everyone's getting involved. It's so great. Okay, getting a lot of the vision to myself, you guys. You gotta be really careful because you can get really excited and you can self-sabotage yourself by telling the enemy what your plan is. And the enemy, is someone maybe got something against you or just thinks you can't do it or whatever the case might be. Vice versa, whether you think you can't do it, somebody else thinks you can do it. So it's either way. So I seen myself in a suit going to court. That could be a number of things. So, but very classy. Like I really knew what I was doing. So it's gotta be something. I got wisdom. The spirit gave me skills. So anyway, with that being said, I get these visions in the alliance. I mean, that just covers the whole thing. That just covers every bit of the outreach and everything, and training up our sons and daughters in God, and saving the children from themselves. Suicide rates got so high. Just found out, really sad. I mean, the youngest child to commit suicide is 3 years old, and surely think about it. If you got a 3-year-old out there, think about it. That 3-year-old had to have been seeing something. What are I seeing? Lots of people out there don't believe in anything unless they can see it. It's Hebrews 11:1. We don't work that way. We don't operate that way. There's so much more going on out there. Don't see, don't understand. So anyway, the same message that you were talking about the past couple of weeks. Stop asking why, or do the woe is me. Oh, woe is me. Let's move on. Let's cry, get it out, and let's realize what does trigger us. Get emotional or crying, and address it in a civil and timely way. Okay, and let's not deny our emotions. We're people with emotions. That's what makes us so special. That we can feel the emotions of other people ourselves, but let's make sure that it doesn't get a hold of us. So until later, God bless you and have a great, great week. Hope to see you tonight. It's Wednesday night. So I got some of you that come in Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and I got some of you that come in at Wednesday at 10 p.m. tonight. So Wednesdays are open. And we got at Wednesdays at 1 and Wednesdays at 10, 45 minutes. And starting in October, on the first of every month, we will all be meeting up together so that we all know each other, so that we're all doing it all at one time. So anyway, and until then, God bless you guys so much. Later.